The fact that Henry Armstrong was buried did not seem to him to prove that he was dead. He had always been a hard man to convince that he was really buried. The testimony of his senses compelled him to admit. His posture, flat upon his back, with his hands crossed until his stomach and tied with something that he easily broke without profitably altering the situation. The strict confinement of his entire person, the black darkness and profound silence, made a body of evidence impossible to convert, and he accepted it without civil. But dead? No. He was only very, very ill. He had withdrawal, the individual's apathy, and did not greatly concern himself about the uncommon fate that he had allotted to himself. No philosopher was he, just a plain, commonplace person gifted of the time being with a pathological indifference. The organ that he feared consequences with was torpid, so with no particular apprehension for his immediate future, he fell asleep, and all was peace with Henry Armstrong. But something was going on overhead. It was a dark summer night, shot through with infrequent simmers of lightning, silently firing a cloud laying low in the west and pretending a storm. These brief, stammering illuminations brought out with ghastly districtness the monuments and headstones of the cemetery, and seemed to set them dancing. It was not a night in which any credible witnesses was likely to be straying about a cemetery. So the three men who were there, digging into the grave of Henry Armstrong, felt reasonably secure. Two of them were young students from a medical college a few miles away. The third was a gigantic Negro known as Jess. For many years, Jess had been employed about the cemetery as a man of all work, and it was his favorite pleasure that he knew every soul in the place. From the nature of what he was doing, it was inferable that the place was not so popular as its register may have shown it to be. Outside the wall, at the part of the grounds furthest from the public road, were a horse and a light wagon waiting. The work of excavation was not difficult. The earth with which the grave had been loosely filled a few hours before offered little resistance and was soon thrown out. Removal of the casket from its box was less easy. But it was taken out, for it was a prerequisite of Jess, who carefully unscrewed the cover and laid it aside, exposing the body in black trousers and a white shirt. At that instant, the air sprang to flame. A crackling sound of thunder shook the stunned world, and Henry Armstrong tranquilly sat up. With inarticulate cries, the men fled in terror, each in a different direction, for nothing on earth could two of them have been persuaded to return. But Jess was of another breed. In the gray of the morning, the two students, pallid and haggard from anxiety and with the terror of their adventure still beating tremendously in their blood, met at the medical college. "You saw it," one cried. "God, yes, what are we doing?" They went around to the rear of the building. They saw a horse attached to a light wagon, hitched at a gatepost near the door of the dissenting room. Mechanically, they entered the room. On a bench in the observatory sat the Negro, Jess. He rose, grinning, all eyes and teeth. "I'm waiting for my pay," he said. Stretched naked on a long table lay the body of Henry Armstrong, the head defiled with blood and clay from a blow with a spade.